So currently it's middle of August. I've applied to about 33 schools and I have 5 more secondaries left to complete. Honestly, at this point, I'm feeling really burned out. I think when you're writing so much about your experiences and what you've done and why you deserve to go to medical school, it kind of feels fake. Not to say that the experiences that I'm talking about aren't real and I don't feel the way that I'm writing about them, but it just feels disingenuous to kind of write about them in that light and to reiterate over and over again why you're passionate about what you are doing and how you hope to become a physician because of this volunteering experience or this clinical experience. And at a certain point, I'm just kind of fed up with it. So in terms of next steps, once I finish up these last couple of secondaries, it'll be the waiting game at this point. Just waiting to hear back about interviews, and we'll see what happens from there. I actually woke up this morning to find an interview invite in my email. So yeah, I guess it worked out. It definitely feels a little bit unreal that yesterday I was so nervous and feeling not confident in myself since other people had been started receiving interview invites, but I think that just goes to show that this process is very random and you don't know what will ever happen. So yeah, it's definitely like a shot of adrenaline and it'll keep me going. It's been a couple weeks since I last updated. So it's currently September 26th. I received my first rejection a couple weeks back. It was from a school that I thought I had a pretty good fit with too, which kind of stung at the time. But I just received my second interview invite last week, which was a big relief, mainly because the first interview invite kind of felt like a fluke at the time. Maybe it was just luck. So receiving the second interview invite kind of instilled more confidence in myself that this cycle is going somewhere and that there's a chance, or a pretty good chance at least. Going forward, next week I have my first interview, so we'll see how that goes. Currently been preparing for the last couple of weeks, doing mock interviews with friends, meeting with some alumni from my undergrad who currently go to the medical school I'm interviewing at. So yeah, it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So today is October 8th. It's been exactly 1 week since my very first interview, and I think it went well overall. I really enjoyed my experience at this interview day. I really enjoyed getting to meet the interviewers and also the faculty who came to talk to us, as well as the other interviewees who were there. There was like a breakout room in between sessions when you weren't actively interviewing, so you got to talk and meet with the other interviewees. It was nice getting to meet them and talk with other people going through the same process with you at the moment, and it's kind of like meeting future friends. But overall, it was a good interview experience. Glad to have gotten my first one out of the way. I was so nervous, especially for the first interview. I remember telling my interviewer that it was my very first med school interview, and he took a second to calm me down and gave me some advice, which was super, super nice of him. So yeah, great first interview, I think. There was one interesting situation. During one of my interviews, the faculty member who was interviewing me was actively in the hospital, and he was working like in the OR, I think, and he was actively talking to residents while interviewing me at the same time. It was a really strange experience, and it kind of threw me off for a little bit. And there was even one point during the interview when he asked me if I didn't mind him turning off his camera for 3 minutes and for me to just stop talking altogether since he needed to address something. So there's about a small period in our interview where I was literally staring at a black screen, which was super off-putting. And then he proceeded to come back on, and then we just had to proceed and continue with the interview. So that was a really weird experience overall. I won't hear back from that school until, I believe, the spring. So it's going to be a while. But I have another interview coming up in 2 weeks, which I'm also super excited about, starting to prep for that. I think I applied to 38 schools. I've gotten 2 interview invites, and then I've been rejected from 3 so far. So it's actually kind of nice having applied to 38 schools when every time you get a rejection, it doesn't feel as bad, since I think I'm expecting a lot of rejection. So something to get used to. And overall, I'm trying to stay optimistic. I've been happy with how the process has been going so far. I know some people haven't even heard back from any schools yet in terms of interviews. So it's good to be grateful and continue to be optimistic and hope that maybe more interviews will come my way. So overall, can't really complain so far. And yeah.
Hi, Michael. This is calling you midday on Monday, calling to let you know some good news that we've accepted you into our class for next year. You'll be getting an email that should go out this afternoon or tomorrow. And certainly any questions that come up, feel free to let us know. Just wanted to pass along the good news. Wish you congratulations and a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Hello, we are not available now. Please leave your name. Hello?
Hello, Dad.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Michael.
Hey, Dad. How are you? Oh, that's good. No, I'm just calling because I got into today, so.
Yeah? What?
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
You're not here.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah?
No, I got into today.
Give you the offer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They called me today.
哎呀，这个哪一个是 speakerphone？ 这个是不是 ？Hello, Michael.
Hey, Mom.
Congratulations, Mikey. Good news.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, 他们
Oh, good news. 啊？
也没有什么，他们今天打电话给我了，我在工作的时候。
Yeah, yeah. Well, good for you, honey. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so happy for you, honey.
Yeah, thank you. That's all I had. I
Okay,
just
I will
wanted
let
to let
you
you know.
know. 我让你跟爸爸讲了。Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's all killed by the phone.
I know, she just stole it from you. Yeah.
Good. Good news. Good things. All right.
Okay. That's pretty much it.
All right.
Didn't have anything else.
That's the very good news. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'll talk to you guys later. I love you both.
Yeah. Keep yourself healthy, okay?
Yep, I will. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you later.
Bye. Hey, so as you can probably guess, I got into medical school today. It's my first acceptance. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I don't think it's really set in fully yet, so I've just been like a very calm kind of happy. I found out at work actually. I looked down to check my phone and I saw a voicemail, so I went out and I dialed the number back and I called like the call the number, and they picked up and they're like, oh, this is the admissions office. And then I was like, yeah, hi, my name is Michael. Is there anything you want to tell me? And they're like, no, just like listen to the voicemail and let us know if you have any questions. So I was like, oh, okay. I listened to the voicemail and I got some good news. So that was very nice. It was a pleasant surprise. And then I told some of my coworkers today at work, and they were really happy for me, which was really nice too. Nothing really too much else to update about. I'm waiting to also hear back from another school in the next couple weeks. And we'll see what happens there. And then at this point, it's kind of just quiet because I don't have any interviews lined up, but I do have my first acceptance. So does it really matter? No, but like I'd like to get more interviews anyways, not to be greedy, but you know, you always want more, especially with the amount of work that I put in. So yeah, gonna I don't know, I'm probably not gonna relax tonight, but I'm probably gonna celebrate a little bit just in my own and be happy for a little bit longer and don't have to be as neurotic, which is nice. So yeah. All right, so it's been a minute since I last checked in. There was a lot of rejections for the past 2 months, really. There was one silver lining where I did receive one acceptance from a school that I interviewed with back in December, but I don't think it's going to end up being one of the schools that I ultimately choose. So past January, I wasn't expecting any interviews, but you know, there's still like a hope in the back of your head that one of them will give you the chance to talk with them. So unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case. We're approaching the end of February now. So yeah, I think that's probably going to be the end of my interview season. One big update is I think this week will be the week that I hear back from one of my top choices. I interviewed with this school back in October. It was actually my first interview. So finally getting to hear back. This is probably my top choice. I think if I got in, I'd probably go. I know my parents would definitely want me to go to this school. So we'll see what happens. So today is February 24th. It's been a weird day. Like I talked about earlier, I was expecting to hear back from the school that I had interviewed with at the beginning of the cycle. And this is a school that I was most excited to hear back from just because it's at the top of my list right now among the schools that I've interviewed at. So I was expecting to hear back today, and I saw the email in my inbox while I was working, and I kind of read the preview and I kind of knew what was going to happen. Since it was like you're going to be on the wait list, and it's definitely not the end of the world, and it definitely stings a little bit still, just because I thought the interview had went very well, even though it was my very first interview. Feels like I'm stuck in purgatory a little bit longer. I need to wait until May, I think, to hear back about the decision. But yeah, not going to hold out too much hope. Regardless what happens, I know I have good options on the table, so it's more of just trying to remind myself that there are only certain things that I can control, and to keep moving forward. That's all you can really do. Yeah. Today's April 5th. It's been a rough last couple weeks. Part of it just being work has been really busy, and then I was sick last week. So I was actually kind of worried that it would impact Second Look. So a couple of my schools have already had virtual Second Look, but this week it will be in person Second Look on campus. So I'm super excited. So kind of the current state of things, just a quick rundown. Right now, I've been accepted to 3 schools, still waiting to hear back from one, and then waitlisted at the last one. So right now it's kind of just really looking at those 3 schools. I don't expect to hear good news from either the school that I'm still waiting to hear back from or the wait list. There's a little bit of hope, but I think it's probably just for the best if I focus on what's at hand. I think between the 3 schools right now, I've eliminated one just based on the cost, and also I just don't think it really aligns with what I'm hoping to do. So I'll probably withdraw from that school. So it's really down to 2 schools right now: my state school and also this other private medical school that's in a big city. So if I had to choose right now, I think my heart would be telling me to go to this school in the big city, even though it's way more expensive. The way that I'm looking at it right now is that I don't necessarily want to feel constrained, I think is the best word. I think during undergrad, when I went to my state school for undergrad, so it felt like I was really struggling to find opportunities to do things that I'm very passionate about. And I think going back to my state school for medical school, I'm afraid that the same will happen again. So I think being in a city would allow me to really explore a lot of different opportunities for what I'm passionate about. So I guess it's just kind of figuring out if it's worth that extra price. So that's really what I'm trying to figure out at this point. That's kind of my thought process going forward. And in the back of my head, obviously, there's the wait list at my top choice. And like, it sucks. I think just the waiting is the worst part, but there's still a little bit of hope, but it's probably best if I don't get myself too excited about it. So I'm probably going to write a letter of intent in the coming weeks, and hopefully that helps. We'll see.
Amtrak Northeast Regional Train 94 en route.
So today is April 28th. We're officially a couple days out from me needing to make my final decisions in terms of what medical school I'm going to commit to. I didn't follow up after Second Look, so I guess I'll do a quick wrap up of how I was feeling. I was able to visit 2 medical schools over the course of Second Look. One was my state school, and the other one was up in Boston. I had a great time at both. I think following my experience there, I was definitely feeling way more excited about the school in Boston. I think between the people that I had met, the city itself, and just the possibility of opportunities that were available to me, I think that really shifted me in favor of that school. And not to say that I didn't get the same feeling from my state school, but I just definitely felt less excited about it. One story, I was at my state school, I got to meet up with some friends after that I had gone to undergrad with. And I was kind of walking through my thought process at the moment of how I was approaching my decision. And all of them had started off, I think, wanting me to come to school with them so we could, be like old times. But I think after I had explained my thought process and how I was approaching both schools, they all unanimously kind of told me that, like, Michael, you should really be going to this school in Boston. To that, I was like, do you guys even love me? Like, you're not fighting for me to stay. I think they all kind of saw how I felt about both schools, and also kind of just the reasoning that I had laid out. But at the same time, you know, the cost difference between my state school and this school in Boston is a lot. The cost is really the main reason why I was dragging my feet. What it really boiled down to at the end of the day was, in 30 years, I don't see myself regretting the debt or the cost as much as the fact that if I went to my state school, I didn't do what I thought was best for my professional career and what would allow me to grow the most. And I think that is what really made the decision for me. That being said, I think in 20, 30 years, I hope future Michael doesn't curse this version of himself for making a poor decision financially and making him an indentured servant somewhere, needing to pay off those loans. I'm definitely risk averse, but I think I may be even more risk averse in the sense that I don't want to lose this opportunity, you know, to experience a new city, a new place, and being exposed to a bunch of new opportunities that I think could really help my career. So that being said, I am officially, I think, going to commit to the school in Boston. Still waiting on 2 other schools, one of which I had been waitlisted on a while back, and it's my top choice. I think if I get in, I'll definitely go. And this other school, I recently got waitlisted. The school I had interviewed back in December, and they had literally said nothing. Literally until 2 days ago, they finally announced that I was waitlisted. So more waiting there. In terms of both schools, I think if I got off the waitlist, I would definitely go. Especially for that one school that I interviewed with at the very beginning, I had the best impression. And even now, the more that I've learned about the school, the more that I've heard about it, it's definitely a school that I really want to go to. I think it's really hard to beat. So since it was my first choice, I wrote a letter of intent, kind of laying out all the reasons why I wanted to go. So hopefully that helps a little bit and I can get off the wait list, but I'm not trying to instill any false hope. I don't want to let myself get down. So I realized I totally forgot to explain what a letter of intent was, but basically it's when you write a letter to a school explaining that they're your top choice in the hopes that it gives you a better chance of gaining acceptance. And it's kind of very middle school in the sense that you're writing a letter, not really sure where it'll land, and you hope for the best. In my particular scenario, it just ended in me waiting and waiting and waiting. So I waited and I waited, and I emailed the admissions office a couple times asking if they thought a spot would open, but there was never a spot for me, and I felt really devastated at the time. I remember moping around and feeling sorry for myself, but it's been a full year now since I officially matriculated to medical school. I spent a really long time procrastinating on this video, so that's why it's been so long, but I have a very different perspective than what I had back then. And I think I have 3 main things that, looking back now, I kind of feel differently about. I think the first is that after a full year, the emotions that I felt feel much more muted now. You know, I have a larger perspective. The highs don't feel as high and the lows don't feel as low. When I was watching through the clips and editing, I still felt really happy when I saw that clip of me calling home for the first time with that first acceptance. But I also felt less sad when I, watched that process of me kind of dealing and struggling with getting waitlisted and having to wait for so long. And I think if you're going through this process now, you have to remember that, in a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, however long, the problems just don't seem as big. I think that's always good to remember. I think the second thing, looking back now, is that there were so many people that helped me along the way. You saw me talking to my parents and my family. So many friends supported me as well throughout the process. Whether it was just them checking in on me and asking how I was doing, or the friends that I was applying with at the same cycle, and we would practice interviewing together and help each other out. And that was really great and really supportive. And there were so many other mentors and folks who helped write letters of recommendation for me, who really supported me throughout this whole process. And I think it's really important for you to remember that if you're applying, you're not alone. You know, if you got to this point of applying for medical school, there were so many people who had supported you along the way. It feels really lonely when you're going through this process, and you might feel like you're the only one going through what you're going through. But I think it's good to remember that you're not alone, and there are people around you who care about you and are supporting you. And to that end, I'd really like to thank anyone who helped me throughout this process. Without the folks around me, I don't think I would have had the confidence to be who I am. Very, very thankful for all the people around me. And I think it's good to remind yourself of that there are people around you who care and are supporting you. I think lastly, I remember trying to tell myself this as well in the moment, but whatever we're going through doesn't define me as a person. I think you spend so long preparing to apply to medical school, whether it's 4 years of undergrad, or even if you knew you wanted to be a physician, even longer than that beforehand, that this process and applying to medical school and being a physician really consumes a lot of you and who you are. But I really believe that, you know, being a physician and being a doctor is only part of who I am as a person, and you have to remember that as well. So where you end up for school, whether you get in, that doesn't define you as a person. And I think it's just important to keep those things in mind when you go through this process. So on that note, that was a year of me applying to medical school. I hope you enjoyed.